So guys, you are not going to believe this. I just got my first piece of hardware to do it. Oh. Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm not reviewing a video card today. Actually, what I do have is the NZXT Noctis 450. This is a mid-tower offering from them, and I have to say, it looks pretty good. White wouldn't have been my first choice, but it looks sharp. So the first thing you'll probably notice is it may look like you have a front door panel here that's hiding your optical disk drives, but that is not the case. On this particular case, they are ditching the optical disk drive for just a straight finish on the front. And that way it gives you more fans and the airflow, which we'll check out when we get to the inside of it. Alright, looking at the side here, we have a full side panel window, which allows you to see everything inside your build, which is really nice. The other really cool thing that I like about this case is the PSU cover. Particularly with a white case, it can be pretty hard to get a white PSU. They are out there, they exist, but if you already have a black one, you may not want to spend that kind of dough. And the fact that this covers it will make the case look really nice, the build look nice, you won't see hardly near as many cables, and the NZXT lights up, which, as you know, I'm a sucker for lighting up things. So on the panel here, just a quick little slide, and it pulls right on out. We have our catches here in the top, and, you know, some cases use some different approaches, some hinges and stuff, but hey, this is solid and it definitely works. The other thing I really like about this side panel is these guys right here. These little screws are actually kind of riveted in so that they don't fall out and they stay with the panel. If you're like me, you sometimes pulled that cover off, set your screws on, and then set your screws down somewhere, and then you're spending 5 minutes trying to figure out where you put your screws. So nothing to worry about there. I really like what they did with that. Now we're going to take a quick look at the top of the case. Not a lot of frills to see here. You've got some good ventilation in the top, so that way if you have a top radiator pushing the hot air out of your system, you got plenty to go there, but otherwise there's not a lot that needs to happen here. The only thing that we can point out too is right here you've got your nice little I/O panel. You've got two USB 2.0 ports, two USB 3.0 ports, headphone and mic connectors, and a nice little simple power button. Nothing too flashy, but a nice little LED ring that'll light up once we get this thing powered up. Here on the back of the case we got obviously some pretty standard features. Some things that are less common than others, but we've got the water cooling ports here in the back. We've got room for up to 140 millimeter fan, which of course NZXT includes on this particular case. We have a bottom dust filter here, and that's for obviously keeping all the dust out of your PSU. And it's a little sticky there. The catches are actually really good for catching it. I really like the fact that they do not have a clip on this one, and the reason why is that sometimes you forget to take your dust filter out, and the next thing you know, you yank the cover off and you broke your clips. So it's kind of nice to see that this doesn't have any kind of snap-in type clip. It's just a couple little catches that holds that dust filter in. This entire panel here will remove, allowing you to install the PSU. Let's take a closer look on the inside of the Noctis 450. First off, you're going to see this motherboard tray cut out. It's huge. Now, some people might think this is a little unnecessary. I've actually messed around with my VRM and chipset heat sinks while the board was in the case to find out that I couldn't reach some screws. I really like the fact that they give you this huge cutout. They definitely have liquid coolers in mind so that if you've already got your system installed and then you realize, hey, I'm going to put my VRMs under liquid, well, you probably won't have to remove the whole motherboard in order to get out the heat sinks on top of the VRMs. So, nice design there. See some cases with that. That's not too abnormal. The other really nice thing that I like, and this is something that's different, and you may have a little trouble seeing it from this angle, but these cutouts here for the cable management in this case, it's actually angled out just a little bit towards the motherboard, so that as you're routing your cables through, it's kind of helping loop them onto the board rather than having to come straight out at a 90 degree and then try to get around. That is a great little feature that I've never seen before, and I really like it. It's simple, but it's super effective, and I think it'll be great for when you're putting your cables through to the motherboard. Okay, let's talk about one more thing while we've got the case open here. There's something that I saw on this that I was really impressed by. Typically, with most cases, if you install your drives in the hard drive bays, well, they're disappeared. You can't see them. They're just somewhere floating off and never land, and you know they're there because the computer works, but you can't actually see them. Well, NZXT decided to throw 2 SSD mounts right here on top of the PSU cover, and that is great. Especially if you have a couple of Samsung 850 Pros, you kind of want to show those off, but you don't want them to look ugly. So you have your 2 mounts right here on top of the PSU cover, and then you've got a nice little spot that cuts away right here at the back, so that all you have to do is run your SATA cables and your connectors off to the back, and it won't look messy, and then you can show off whatever drives you're using for your build. Okay, we got the back panel off on this guy, and we can see quite a few nice things on the back side here. First off, right there, that is a fan hub. Nice little small placement back where nothing can see. Makes it really easy to cable manage. There's actually 8 slots on this thing for fans. That's a lot. I don't know if I've had a case that has quite that much, although, that's quite normal for more higher end cases, but I really like that. Looks great. It's excellent. Couple other things to notice. We got lots and lots and lots of tie-offs in this back panel here. Plenty of places to tie off your cables, make them look really neat, so that way they're not showing up and looking ugly in your build. Another thing that we've got is obviously lots and lots of hard drive mounts. So if you have normal hard drives or you're wanting to set up more of like a data center type thing, well, you can do it. I mean, probably not as much as you'd want for a server environment or a work business environment, but hey, you can throw a good number of hard drives in here. But if you've got a couple of solid state drives and you're running to RAID 0 like I am, then you can just pull the tray right on out of there, and you can just open up this entire slot for putting things like pumps and reservoirs in for your liquid cooling kit. Alright, I already touched on this a little bit before, but I just want to showcase this a little bit more. Here's those 3 front 120mm fans for the radiator space. And as you can see, you can easily fit a 360mm radiator in there. You can put a push-pull configuration in there. You got plenty of room in the bottom here where you can set up a reservoir. You've got plenty of room towards the top to route your tubes. It's great. It's got a lot of space. If I had just 2 SSDs to run my bench system with, I would just keep those hard drive panels out and I wouldn't even use them. But as it is, I'm running a RAID off of 2 7200 RPM 3.5-inch drives, so I'll have to throw at least a couple of them back in there. Well, since I dropped this one earlier, I guess I'm going to have to go to my own personal replacement card. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go to my own personal replacement card. Okay, well, I got my whole build in there. I keep thinking I'm forgetting something. Oh, right. Yeah, I don't have to put a CD drive in there. And I don't need to throw any extra fans because NZXT has a plethora of fans in here. So, as you can see, I have a Riven Okeanos CPU cooler, and it's a double tower beast, and it's fitting in there with no problem and some room to spare. So we got plenty of room there. You can see my Sapphire R9 290. It's a long card. It actually fits just a little bit past this plate, but at the same time, by taking out all the hard drive cases in it, I don't have anything to worry about. I got plenty of room, even for an extra long graphics card, especially since I'm only using 2 of the hard drive trays. So I didn't have any issues there. My PSU sitting nicely covered right underneath here. I don't have any solid state drives for this thing, so I wasn't able to take advantage of those. But if I did have something like a nice Samsung 850 Pro, it'd be sitting right there for all the world to see. As you can also see, the cable management is excellent on this case, and I mean excellent. My CPU power connector right there in the top is just floating right over the top and just sitting right in here. I'm able to kind of tuck away some of my fan cables in here. My PSU cables are able to run out the back, as well as my video card cables. And also, what I really like is there's some nice little recesses and cutouts that all the things like my power switch, power LEDs, my USB header connectors, as well as my HD audio front panel connector are all just tucking right down below and just instantly disappearing, so that the cable clutter looks excellent. The other thing that's really cool is right here I have a 4-pin connector that goes to the motherboard so you can control your fans through the motherboard. And that is a really nice feature as well. I have to say, I'm already really impressed with this case. I think it's time to light it up and see what it looks like with the full color spectrum on. Well, we've got her lit up, and I just gotta say, she looks really pretty. The NZXT here is lit up. I love this bottom LED light on the bottom. That just, it looks, kind of looks like a hot rod, honestly. It looks great. I'm really liking the lighting scheme on this case. Everything is booted up and it's running smooth. I can't see a lot of problems here. I mean, there's plenty of room. The airflow looks good. These fans should be running full bore right now, and I'm sitting right next to them with my ear in the case, and I can barely hear them. NZXT makes some really nice silent fans, and they still have good airflow. So this case is definitely going to help keep things cool. And honestly, this is just very well put together. It looks nice, and hey, bonus, the blue LEDs on the case match the blue LEDs on my Sapphire Vapor X card very nicely. I'm impressed. Went ahead and threw the final side panel window on there so we can get one last good shot at this case with everything running. As you can see, the blue LEDs look great. The panel window is giving you an excellent view of the entire build. There's nothing in here that really stands out or looks glaringly ugly. This is an excellent case. The white obviously is a very nice aesthetic, especially for people who get tired of all the black and dark gray cases out there. I had so much room in this thing. I had plenty of room to get my motherboard in. The PSU is very excellently hidden. I've got great airflow. I have a fan controller. There is just so much about this case that I'm absolutely loving. Now this case is going to retail for about $140, and depending on what sales you can get, you might get a little bit off, and that would make it an excellent deal. But honestly, at $140, this case has a lot of great features. If you don't plan on getting into water cooling, you might find something that'll suit you a little bit better at a lower price, sure. But honestly, for the amount of expandability and how much you can do in this case for future builds and future upgrades, $140 is, I think, an excellent price for the quality and for everything that we've seen happening here today. So honestly, I don't think I have any choice. I'm going to have to award the NZXT Noctis 450 the Pure Overclock Editor's Choice Award.